Good morning. Today is the 15th. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him. With Moses will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Numbers 12, 6 through 8. Not quite sure what this one's about. Aaron and Miriam began to murmur and criticize their younger brother, Moses. It is clear from their criticisms that their motives were impure, that they were concerned that they were not receiving the public acclaim that Moses was receiving. Jehovah stepped in the conversation suddenly, chastened them dramatically, and then taught a great lesson concerning his covenant spokesman. In short, he said, there are prophets, and then there are prophets. Those like Moses, who are called to stand as dispensation heads, become the preeminent prophetic revealers of Christ and the plan of salvation, the means through which God restores knowledge and perspective and power. Subsequent prophets during a given dispensation are themselves noble and great, but each of them recognizes the singular and significant place of the head of their dispensation. Speaking of which, conference is like in 2 weeks, peeps. 2 weeks. I was trying to read all the conference talks, but it's just easier to listen to them. So I'm listening to 5 every week to get ready for conference. And yeah, listening's easier. Okay, so today is Genesis chapter 43 verse 3 through Genesis 44 verse 8. Now, the men were hungry. They wanted to go back to Egypt. The dad said no. Jacob says no. And he says after a while, okay, go get food. And they're like, we can't go without Benjamin. Period. We can't go without him. And he's like, what? Am I supposed to be without all my children? Anyways, he finally gives in. He says, go, take double payment, take gifts, beg forgiveness, bring home Simeon, bring home Benjamin, and if I'm bereaved of my children, then I'm bereaved. They go. Joseph sees them. He says to his steward, make haste. Go home, prepare a feast. I'm going to eat with my brothers. Make everything ready. The brothers come. They say, here's double payment. The steward is like, we have your money. Don't worry about it. This must be a gift from your God. Then they eat. Well, they don't eat yet. Joseph comes home. He says, is this the brother you spoke of? And they're like, yes. And he blesses Benjamin. And then he goes to his room and he cries because he's so excited. He's so happy to see his brother. And then they eat. And then, they eat and are merry. And then in the morning, he kicks them out. He sends them on their way. He puts all of their payment back in their bags along with his silver cup, which in the movie is his magic cup, and how he discerns how to set them in age-appropriate order. Important to the story. Then, after they send them off, he sends his steward after them a little while and says, go say these words. He says, why have you returned evil for good? And they're saying, we brought you double payment. Why would we steal from you? And that's where we end off in 44 verse 8. We're getting to the good stuff. So, 43, Benjamin. Let's talk about Benjamin, meaning son of my right hand, son of Jacob and Rachel, was born during a time of travel between Bethel and Bethlehem. His mother died in childbirth while giving birth to him. Later, when a serious famine came over the land and Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to obtain grain, Benjamin was too young to travel. The story of the sons' encounters with the government of Egypt, their brother in disguise, is one of the most magnificent and dramatic scenes in the Old Testament. Still unrecognized, Joseph retained Simeon as surety and sent the rest home with supplies, having given them the order to return with their youngest brother Benjamin. Jacob was reluctant to allow Benjamin to go, but Jacob finally relented, and his 11 sons were again granted an audience before Joseph of Egypt. Jacob's final blessing upon the head of Benjamin included the following words: Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night shall divide the spoil. Benjamin and his posterity were indeed aggressive in standing against the enemies of Israel, and developed a reputation as skillful archers and slingers. Moses bestowed the following blessing upon the tribe of Benjamin: The beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him, and the Lord shall cover him all the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. Following their return from Babylonian captivity, the tribes of Benjamin and Judah comprised the main body of the Jewish nation. The most famous of the Benjaminites down through the generations were King Saul and the Apostle Paul. That's pretty cool. There was something. Oh yes, as I was reading these blessings, it reminded me of Marin's talk and how she said that she was feeling a little discouraged, so she went through her patriarchal blessing and wrote down everything that God said she was. And that same Sunday, Malia and I and Hannah went through ours and wrote down everything that God said we are. And at first we just wrote down, he says you are. And we wrote those down, and they weren't very many. Marin said she had a lot when she wrote down hers, and I'm like, there's like 2 here, and I'm smudging on that too, There's the lineage of Ephraim, and then some other things, but mainly in mine it says you shall have or you shall be, and I took that not as you are, but now after this blessing, it is a you are to me, and so now my list of 2 has grown, and I think it's pretty cool to see what God thinks you are, to who he knows you are, not what he thinks you are, what he knows you are. And I think that could help you, me, us, the royal you, the royal we, can help us in times of questioning, temptation, falter, those situations where you're just like, who am I? What am I doing here? Why do I try so hard? Nothing works out, But remembering who God says we are can help us, as he did with Benjamin. All right, so the good stuff is coming tomorrow. The really dramatic scene. All right, so that was Genesis 43, verse 3, through Genesis 44, verse 8. And tomorrow is Genesis 44, verse 9, through Genesis 45, verse 14. I know, it's all like mixed up, but that's what we do here. We're crazy. All right, talk to you tomorrow. I love you very much.